things. First of all, when you start to get into the early summer, you have a lot of different variables impacting the lake. A lot of times, depending upon the part of the summer, usually it happens like in July or something like that, most man-made lakes are going to form a thermocline in the lake. And what the thermocline is going to do is it's going to make a part of the lake that the fish normally use in different times of the years uninhabitable to fish because of low oxygen levels. So in the summertime, you're not going to have a lot of fish on the bottom in really depths of over 25 or 30 foot. You're going to have a lot of those fish that are scattered, a lot of those fish that are suspended, a lot of those fish that are sort of in the in-between depth. So that sort of throws a curveball in it. Fish want to be deep. It's like fish like to live deep, but if they don't have the right oxygen, they're going to disperse in other areas. So in the summertime, you have a population of bass that lives suspended, you have a population of bass that lives deep, and you have a population of the bass that lives shallow. So let's talk a little bit about the easiest fish to catch in the summertime of the year, which are the shallow fish, by far, for sure. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and it doesn't really make any difference on the clarity of your lake. If you've got a clear water lake, this is going to work. If you've got a dirty water lake, it's going to work. And that is you've got two different ways that I like to catch fish in the summertime, given this. Number one is the muddy water or the dirty water areas, and number two are the bluegill feeding areas. Now, let me get into that, but first let me talk a little bit about why these fish are in there and why it's a little bit more difficult to catch them in the summertime. Bass feed at night most of the time throughout the entire year, but they really feed heavily at night during the summertime. They're so much of their feeding activity goes on during night when it's warm out. So this is the problem that you have, is a lot of those fish, they will feed up shallow during the nighttime, and then they move out deeper and they suspend, sort of scatter around during the daytime in the summertime. So that is an element that sort of toughens it up a little bit. But the two different populations of fish that I fish for again, are the bluegill feeders and the dirty water areas. Now, the dirty water areas, every lake's is going to be sort of unique to it. So you may or may not have this specific set of situations, but most man-made lakes, you're going to have a part of the lake that has some more off-colored water. It's usually in the extremities areas, the upper river portions, the upper creek arms of major creeks, you're going to have some more dirty water. This is one of the first areas I look for, because if I can find an area where the water visibility is like around a foot or even less, I don't care if that water temperature is 85 degrees, I'm going to catch some fish shallow.